carried out by Al-Qaeda against the United States. The attackers hijacked 4 airliners, crashing 2 into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City, the 3rd into the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia, while the 4th plane crashed in a rural field in Pennsylvania after passengers attempted to regain control from the hijackers. The attacks resulted in the deaths of 2,977 people and injured thousands more. It is a day that should never be forgotten. In the aftermath of the event, the first conspiracy theories emerged within hours, and in the following years, with the rise of social media, these theories expanded in range and magnitude. One of the most enduring of these is the collapse of World Trade Center 7, a 47-story skyscraper located near World Trade Centers 1 and 2. This building collapsed hours after the Twin Towers without being struck by a plane or directly targeted. In this video, we will look at why so many have questioned the official narrative surrounding this collapse, and why so many still believe we haven't been told the truth about that fateful day. Hit those lights, sit back and listen carefully. The building that was never hit. When 2 hijacked aircraft crashed into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, they caused unimaginable destruction. Upon impact, the planes dislodged the fireproofing on the steel support structures of the buildings, resulting in intense fires that weakened the tower's overall frames. This ultimately led to their dramatic collapse, resulting in a terrifying fate for those trapped inside. However, it wasn't just the Twin Towers that fell that day. World Trade Center Building 7, which was not hit by a plane, also dramatically collapsed nearly 7 hours after the North Tower fell. The building, also known as the Salomon Brothers Building, was home to the offices of the CIA, the Department of Defense, and the Office of Emergency Management. It was situated just north of the main 16-acre World Trade Center complex, directly across Vesey Street from the North Tower, although it stood approximately 350 to 400 feet from the North Tower's footprint, separated by a city street, and it wasn't officially part of the original superblock. For perspective, that distance is roughly equivalent to 4 American football fields lined up end to end. On the day of the attacks, news stations around the world were continuously broadcasting live as events unfolded, providing the public with the most current information about the atrocities. At 4:54 p.m. local time, BBC World News correspondent Jane Stanley reported live from New York City. During her broadcast, viewers could clearly see smoke and dust billowing in the air after the Twin Towers collapsed. In the background, the still-standing World Trade Center 7 was also visible when she gave this update.
Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. There's almost a sense downtown in New York behind me, down by the World Trade Centers, of just an area completely closed off as the rescue workers try to do their job.
As Stanley reports on the collapse and looks behind, surveying the devastation around her, she must have realized in that moment that the building she claimed had just fallen was in fact still there. If this wasn't a live broadcast, a delay could explain the confusion, but crucially, this report was definitely live. The actual collapse of the building occurred approximately 20 minutes later, at 5:20 p.m. In the confusion of that day, this oversight in reporting made little impact on a world that was reeling from one of the most significant terrorist attacks in history. However, it didn't take long for people to question the events of that day, particularly this premature report, and they soon realized that it wasn't the only dubious news circulating. CBS also planted a seed of doubt. At 5:23 p.m. local time, just minutes after World Trade Center 7 fell, CBS aired footage of the incident, hosted by Dan Rather. Rather is known for his coverage of Hurricane Carla in Texas in 1961, during which he showcased radar imaging of the disaster, an effort that helped hundreds of thousands of people evacuate safely, so he knew what he was talking about. Take a look at what he said.
Now, here we're going to show you a videotape of the collapse itself.
Describe that.
Now we go to videotape, the collapse of this building.
It's amazing.
Amazing, incredible, pick your word. for the third time today. It's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
Conspiracy theorists cited these two pieces of media as evidence that major media organizations were involved in covering up the events of that day. After all, to most people, it seemed almost inconceivable that 19 men, some with documented connections to known terrorist organizations, could orchestrate such unprecedented chaos and devastation in the United States by hijacking commercial airliners. Journalists were quick to defend their reporting, with Richard Porter noting that CNN had reported that Building 7 was on fire as early as 4:15 p.m., suggesting it could collapse at any moment. Many other journalists picked up this story, leading some to mistakenly believe the building had already fallen, when in fact it had not. Porter stated, "In the chaos and confusion of the day, I'm quite sure we said things that turned out to be untrue or inaccurate, but at the time they were based on the best information we had. We did what we always do, sourced our reports, used qualifying phrases like apparently, it's reported, or we're hearing, and constantly tried to check and double-check the information we were receiving. If we reported that the building had collapsed before it actually did, it would have been an error, nothing more." Jane Standley, the reporter who prematurely announced the collapse, referred to it as a